Hello, today we are going to start our first tutorial in Illustrator. So the first thing you can do is go down here to your search bar, or you can go to the Start menu and find Adobe Illustrator. Once you have it open, go ahead and pin it to your taskbar by right-clicking and go to Pin to Taskbar. So the interface looks a lot like Photoshop, and it does a lot of the same things. But this is more of a drawing program. This is not an editing or enhancing program. This is actually drawing and creating. Illustrator uses mathematical calculations so that there is no blurriness whenever you expand or reduce any kind of pictures. So, all those pictures up on Times Square, well, they have to do it in Illustrator so that there is not any blurriness. So, we're going to start with going to File, New. We're going to name it DA3-2-1 and your last name. Go ahead and leave it at print. We'll leave it at 1 for now. Down here is where we need to change our width and height. So we'll go over here. We're going to go to inches. And we're going to go to 6 inches wide by 3 inches high. And then go ahead and say OK. So now we have a blank canvas. One of the things you will use a lot in Illustrator is your rulers. So you should probably just turn your rulers on at the very beginning. So just go to View and Rulers, Show Rulers, because this will be something that you use a lot. You can hit Control-0 to get it to fill the screen, or you can go to View, Fit to Screen, Fit All in Window, Fit Artboard in Window. So there are several different ways, just like there are in Photoshop. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start our picture. We're going to start with something easy. So you're going to go up here to the rectangle tool, and we're going to make this a brown color somewhere in there. And so this works just like Photoshop. You got it all across the top, so we know I don't want any stroke, so we're going to put no stroke. And then we're just going to draw a triangle, pretty much the whole scope of things. So that's pretty cool. Now, one of the things that Illustrator can do that Photoshop can't is if you go to the selection tool, which you have 2 of them. There's a black one is the selection tool, and the white one is the direct selection tool. And you have to make sure that you are on the correct one, or it's not going to work. So we're going to go ahead and go here. And so if you're on the direct selection, and see when you go to the corner here, you could turn it. Oops, there you go. Just like in Photoshop. But one of the cool things is you see this blue button here. If you put your cursor right on top of it, you've got a little arc underneath it. And what this does is it will give you rounded corners without having to choose anything or do anything like that. So now let's just assume that you did not like this color. You can go ahead and take, and if you can't see it over here, which I can't, so you probably can't, go to Window, and then we're going to go down to Swatches. All right, and we're going to make a new swatch. And let's just say you were working for somebody or whatever, but we are going to make C0. We're going to make M35. We'll make Y85 and K0. So it's a little bit different than what I had originally chosen, but so that it is one way you can do it. They do theirs in CMYK because Illustrator is primarily a print software. It is not a computer-based or television-based, media-based software like Photoshop and Premiere and some of the other ones. So CMYK, hopefully you remember what that means, but that is mostly for print. So we're going to go ahead and minimize our swatches panel. And now I think that I decided that I would like to put a stroke on here. Even though it's already selected, you can go ahead and select a stroke. You can put how big it is. And you can go with all of that. But what we're going to do is just change it to, we only want it 2 points. Oops. Okay. 2 points. And we're going to leave it at, let's choose, looking for a color that's a lot like it, but not exactly. So we'll choose like a light brown, just to give it some definition, give it a little bit of 3D. So that's what we have here. Now, Illustrator is a lot like Photoshop, that it is dependent on layers, but not as dependent on layers as Photoshop is. So to see your layers panel over here, you can always go to Windows, Layers, or you can go over here to the double sheets of paper and have your layers. And if you want to put it up here, you can just click, hold, and drag, and it will put it here. So now you can just go in between your layers and your artboards. So we're going to go ahead and double click on this layer 1 and call it backgrounds. Background. Because Illustrator does not have as much dependency on layers. The few layers that it has, it is important that you actually label them. So we're going to go ahead and call this the background layer, and if you turn the little toggle switch, you would be able to see all of the things on that layer. Well, now I need to make a new layer so that I can start making some stuff inside. So go ahead and create a new layer. And we're going to name this one content. So within this layer, all of our content